Welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Tuesday. How you doing out there? Everybody is good, I hope. All is good. Got them kids, little rugrats back to school and stuff, right? Oh, man, I see it around town. Everybody's busy moving these kids around. School days, man. That means the weather's going to change soon, so hang tight, right? Maybe? Kind of. Anyways, we're financial advisors here. We are not very familiar with the weather, but we are familiar with the stock markets. If you want to work with an advisor that's actually around and does things here, that'd be us. I'd like to come to you every day here as much as possible to share lessons with you. And today, as promised, we're going to try something a little bit different, maybe a little research, a little education you can learn from, because got a little pet peeve that's creeping up. I want to help you guys out with this. Anyways, let's start with the stock market here. Go over to the charts. Turnaround Tuesday, not the one you probably hoped for, but yesterday, strong day off the 50-day moving average. Today, busted, right? First break below the 50-day for the S&P futures anyways, and just not the right turnaround Tuesday. I get that. But a lot of you are hoping for a pullback in the market, myself included. So, it's un-American in a way, but it's like, come on, come down, market. Keep coming down there. Do it for us. The market actually started off weak. Futures were weak overnight, later into the evening and the first part of the morning there. Economic data out of China not getting any better over there. They were talking about the real estate the other day. We mentioned that. You got retail sales, industrial production, unemployment, all of it not good for China. That hurts our markets over here. You want to hear something funny? Here's the conspiracy story. You guys can have fun with whatever the conspiracy is. So in China, we do it here too, but they break out unemployment by age group. So they have what's called youth unemployment. And youth unemployment would be like 16 to 24, whereas I think here it's 18 to 24. So over there, they have youth unemployment, right? And so youth unemployment previously was about 21% in China. It's not a good number for them. Anyways, so I'm looking through the number of those jobless in age group of 16 to 24. It's just a dash. There's no information. And so they ask, well, hey, what's going on here? And they said, we're going to temporarily stop releasing that data so we can refine it a little bit. Come on, man. Old trick there. I'm sure everything's fine, but that's what happened overnight. And when you hear things like that in the economic news of a country like China, that's going to have an impact. So that's the nitty-gritty of what actually kind of went on there overnight. And so nonetheless, that spilled into our markets here. Pretty much a broad sell-off across the board there. I will mention that the S&P obviously now testing and closing below a very obvious and widely followed support area. That'd be the 50-day moving average, or the blue line that you see there. That doesn't stop there. Let's bounce over here to the Russell. Same thing. More of a cleaner pullback for the Russell. I like this a little bit better, but today breaking below the 50-day moving average. It's just an obvious spot that people like to look, the 50 and the 200-day. You start stretching out from there, less and less people are looking at other moving averages, but pretty much everybody on the planet looks at those two lines. The NASDAQ is the same, but a little bit weaker, right? It had already broken below the 50-day thanks to pullbacks in some of those tech names. NVIDIA tried to help things out there, but couldn't get it done. So also, I would still say it's officially broken, but kind of testing this 50-day area, and so far it is not looking too good. If you come on over to the Dow, hey, that one's held up a little bit better. You have to suffer through the underperformance for the year. If you chose the Dow, it just hasn't performed. But it's not pulling back as much. It's coming back to what would be the 50-day moving average, as well as, if I leave that line there, see, that's called minor support. That's what technical traders look at. It is the top of the area that was most recently broken out of. So if you're a technical analysis person, there you go. The Dow pulling back to minor support. As we bounce around the market, it's just, broad sell-off everywhere, sector and commodity-wise. You look at oil here, back to the 20-day moving average, and that's fine. It's had a great run. People are looking for pullbacks on that one. I'd like to stop for a second on bonds. So remember this before I say this. Bond yields go up when prices go down. That is the correlation. That's how bonds work, right? So bond prices are going down. This is what I'm showing on the screen. Let's go to the 10-year here. All right, so we got the 10-year Treasury. Prices falling means yields going up. All right, it's good news if you're a long-term holder of bonds. Great, you get a discounted price there, and you get, of course, the higher yield. The 10-year breaking above 4.25%. The problem with that is the path we're heading here is not supportive of higher stock market prices. You just can't have a really weak bond market price-wise and a strong stock market. It doesn't work that way. They go together price-wise. So what we have now is we've broken through this most recent low and a little bit lower, and we're going to be breaking through the lows from 2022, which you can see over here, right? That's a problem. What does that mean at that point? That means the 10-year will be trading at 4.3 something, somewhere in there, which would be highs, right? We broke to a new high. It is really tough there because if you want the market to go higher, you can't have bond prices going lower. It just will not work. So be very, very mindful of that if you're following along. And with that, in addition to the market pulling back, volatility. Coiling up, acting like it's trying to give you a little pop there. So all of this kind of leading into a stock market that gave you a very healthy turnaround Tuesday. You know what I mean? So if you like the stock market pulling back, you are a happy camper here today. And I'm fairly happy with that. I'd like to see a little bit more, but we'll see what's going on there. Hey, if you're looking for a financial advisor, other advisors are playing checkers. We're playing chess over here. I keep saying that every day. Today, the example of what we did for a client, not so complicated. Getting them back on track. They disappeared for a while, right? They're out there living their life. They call me up today and say, I got to get back on track, Dustin. What do? We start at the beginning. So it's a very basic beginning sort of review. Where are you? What's going on? Let's use our planner. Let's kind of go through it. I thought that was pretty cool and sort of reminiscent of old times there, just kind of helping people get started. So if you're looking to do that, of course, we do help with that stuff as well. Okay, you want to play a game? This is a bit of a research talk, okay? AI, a little bit of a pet peeve of mine is everybody going, oh, I want to invest in AI. I'll buy NVIDIA. You think that's the only company that's going to benefit from this? And it just boggles my mind that people are so one-sided or whatever, so hyper-focused, have tunnel vision on NVIDIA. Not to say you wouldn't have been rewarded nicely. You know, things have been going well for them. But what's the likelihood that you get a monstrous bounce from here, right? Where's another place that you can invest? Well, without telling you specifically and still telling you specifically at the same time, I did some research here. Here is what we have. Here are the number of companies, percentage-wise, in the S&P that mentioned AI in their most recent earnings transcripts. So we scrub through every one of them and say, all right, there's 32% of companies mentioning that. Is that a high, a low? Are they talking more? Are they talking less? Well, obviously companies get the gist of this. They're talking more about AI, but that doesn't really tell you where to go look now, does it? So I said, well, how can I teach you guys to just kind of keep zooming in until you find something that you like? First of all, we know that about a third of the S&P is our base watch list. We can then take it from there and say what percentage of companies by sector are talking about it. This would be preferential to you if you said, you know, I'm not going to be in the tech sector. I don't like it. I want to be in something else. I'm a utility guy. I'm a financials guy. Whatever it is, you now know anywhere from 80% to 4% of these stocks in these sectors are talking. So, for example, we'll use financials. So financials, 35% of all companies are talking about AI. All right, that's nice to know, but how do we zoom in further? How do we know what to look at? So we got to look up a few different things here. We want to know first the companies that are discussing that they're using it. We don't want to know if a company just says AI. That doesn't really help us. Are they using it, planning on using it? How's this all going? So here's a list of all the companies without being specific and telling you buy one or the other. I'm just telling you, they are currently using AI. Adobe is an obvious one. You've probably seen the ads. For whatever reason, they're promoting their ads really aggressively there. But look at where you can go. I didn't have a chance to lay this out too crazy. Lockheed Martin. Maybe you think that's an obvious one. Maybe you don't. S&P Global. There you go, getting into the financial space over there. Market Access as well. That's a company that a lot of people consider sort of on their own and really have complete dominance in market share there. You got Corning Williams there. You got Citigroup. If we were to say, hey, I picked financials. Now I want to know those that are using AI there. So here's a list of those. MasterCard keeping in finance as well. Basically, Visa, Verizon. Obviously, you can see the names. You can look through them. Utility companies in there as well. And you get a good mix, right? All right. But we got to go further. You know me. I'm not going to just stop there. So they're using it. Is it productive? Or is it just fun? We use AI here a lot, and it's pretty much for fun. We're not being totally productive with it. Well, if you're productive with AI, that might translate into more profits. So we want to further refine this list. These are the number of companies that in their transcripts said, we are seeing productivity increase by using AI. In other words, we're being more efficient, right? We're getting more done for less effort or potentially less hours worked, which means a savings there. This could mean that these companies enjoy a little bit of a bump in profit margins during a time when profit margins are contracting. So maybe that's interesting to you. I found some interesting ones here being Norwegian Cruise Lines. Equifax seems kind of straightforward to me. Notice you still have financials in there, Capital One. You got Paychex in here. Other names like FedEx. You got utility companies. Back to financials over here. Starbucks of all people. So they're using it. And now we want to know, is it driving more profits? Are you seeing more people buy your stuff because somehow you're using AI to get them through the funnel or whatever your sales process is a little bit faster? Or are you just productive on the back end, right, with your TPS reports? Are we just getting the TPS reports done a little bit faster now? Or are we seeing an increase in demand for the product or services that you offer, which means, hey, that means now we might have some profits there. So if we go a little bit further here, the list gets a tiny bit smaller, but we've essentially funneled it down to companies that are finding productivity in it, that increased anyways, and that is causing demand for their product or service to increase. So we started all the way at the top. Start with the stocks telling us about AI. Let's go back sector by sector so we can decide if we want to play with that. You could probably skip that if you don't want to. We want to know the companies using AI. We want to know the companies that are using and seeing more productivity. We want to know the companies that are using, seeing more productivity, and that is causing more sales or at least demands for the moment for their product or services. You got Intel, IBM, some obvious ones in there. You've got a lot of different sectors in here. You're in the energy sector, Schlumberger's in there. You got tech, if you like it there, Lam Research, Avnet, Arista. There's your list. Utilities, did I say that already? General Dynamics is in there, Juniper. So that is that was the best way that I can say how to do that or come up with a list of symbols without saying, just buy that stock there, right? So I'm not allowed to do that. I get in a lot of trouble for that. So hopefully that helped you. If it did, let me know. We will continue and move on to doing other fun studies in ways that, who else is talking about that, right? It's not an easy thing to do. So hopefully you found some value out of that. And if not, I will attempt to find some value in telling you about stocks in the news. Cardinal Health, initially better than expected earnings there. Everything was good. They guided basically in line. I did not catch the details of what happened after that. I will attribute some of that to today's sell-off, but I have a feeling the bar that was set going forward, they just did not give us that guidance that was expected, sort of in line there. There we go. Discover Financial, big mover here lately. The CEO, rumor he was going to leave today, or I believe it came out yesterday, officially becomes official as of today. Today's August 15th. My gosh. Is it? Yeah. Okay. He's done. He's out. Turned in his keys. He's out the door. Grab his box of stuff and he's moving on. So that's the reason for the stock there. Technically speaking, back down to some prior lows. And although it's tough, right? It's extended back down to prior lows. I know some contrarians out there will find that one interesting. Dr. Horton. So you got Berkshire Hathaway, not necessarily Warren Buffett in this case, but Berkshire Hathaway bought a whole bunch of shares of Dr. Horton. They also bought a couple other companies as well. I can't remember them off the top of my head. They're home builders. So they took very smaller positions compared to Dr. Horton, but they took a shot at adding into home builders, which, by the way, have navigated this not yet slowdown in the housing market perfectly. I mean, just incredible. We've covered it the whole time, talking about what they were doing before all the slowdowns and higher interest rates. Incredible. NVIDIA, I believe it was the Financial Times. When I write it down? Financial Times, yeah, they said Saudi Arabia is buying up thousands of the companies' chips that revolve around AI because they have the money, they can do it. So if you wonder why the costs are going up and the supply is going down, Saudi Arabia. Home Depot in the news, better than expected earnings, just like we talked about. They beat. They have a history of beating, thanks to Cody's stats yesterday. 50-50 shot that it goes higher on the day. And look, It was higher, it was lower, it was higher, it was lower, it was higher, it was lower. It finished just a little bit higher. So that goes back to yesterday where I was saying Home Depot, it's a tricky one. If you're going to specifically play it for earnings, it's a tricky one, right? And it turned out to be somewhat tricky. Not too bad, though. Tomorrow, earnings, we have JD.com. We've got Target. We're going to be focused on margins for companies like Target, and they're going to play up the whole thing about I guess in California, you just go in Target, take whatever you want, and you leave. I see lots of clips of that. I've seen even more now that I've said it and my phone was listening. But we're going to be looking at margins there because that eats into their margins. Will give us an idea of is that just a silly video that somebody filmed 3 years ago and it just posted, or is that actually happening a lot? Maybe some of you can attest, but we'll have Target, Children's Place, TJ Maxx, Steinmart is in there somewhere if I remember right. Yes, Steinmart will be up tomorrow. And then after hours, we've got Cisco. And really, that's probably the focus there is Cisco. Avnet, maybe? Yeah. Right? Are they tomorrow? Yeah, they're tomorrow as well, after hours. But Cisco will probably dominate the after hours there. After hours, speaking of such, if you want to hang out with me tonight, Jazz After Dark, we're going to talk about what we talked about yesterday, but I'm going to expand on it. The investing in dividend stocks right now. We're going to talk about the returns and everything, but then I'm going to expand it and show you the top dividend paying stocks and their performance to further expand on what we talked about here yesterday on the closing beat. I'll take your questions if you have any questions. Tomorrow we get housing starts, by the way. So speaking of Dr. Horton and some of the housing companies, expect a little volatility there. The number is set a little bit low, but anyways. Good. You like the lesson. Okay, very cool. Yeah, the doc missed his day, man. Have you ever had a garbage plate? It's great to have after drinking on. Look it up on YouTube. Cody, do you know what a garbage plate is?
It's kind of like a shot that you're just asking me if I know what a garbage plate is, but no, I don't. I don't actually know.
It's a shot. It's a drink?
No, I feel like you're kind of attacking me. You're like, I don't know what a garbage plate is.
Oh,
Cody probably does. It just felt attacky.
Oh no, I'm because I don't know. I'm asking for help.
No, I don't have a clue.
It sounds like something you would probably eat after a long night of drinking in an effort to not feel as hungover.
Yeah, it sounds like it looks like a hodgepodge of stuff.
I can't say I've had one, but that might be a good thing. By the way, while we're here, we got a leaderboard. Guess the Dow.
We do. Yeah, we do have a leaderboard. We got Kevin, Jorge, Aaron, Bev, and Paul. Is your top 5 for Tuesday.
Look at the tight spread there. Jorge and Kevin, man.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay. We'll see what happens, but good luck to those of you that are playing there. I cannot say that I've had a garbage plate. I do apologize. How's the constitutional carry working over there, Jazz and friends? You know, it's Florida. You never know. You want a hint? You come busting through that door here at Jazz Wealth, Doug will take it down. He's the last one you would think, but I'm telling you, don't come busting through that door at Jazz Wealth. I don't worry about anybody else, but that guy's got us protected here. Did I see Michael Burry's buys a bunch of puts? I did. I had a couple clients email me his actual positions there. Remember, he's averaging into a bigger position, and he would benefit more from a quick drop rather than a large drop. I think that gets misunderstood in the old world of the Twitter or X or whatever it's called there. Yeah. Hey, Tom says, Dustin on the AI slides showed us how come Microsoft would be for demand increase but not currently using AI. They didn't say it, right? So think about this. The flaw in that is they didn't need to say they're using AI. We already know they are. So they didn't mention the use of AI. That was probably quarters and quarters ago. They were a bit ahead of the curve, huh? When y'all coming to East Texas, man, you know what I mean? We got to get Eric to settle down on a date. I have nothing holding me back. You know, I'll come anytime there, but Eric's got the kids and then the school and stuff. We are coming, though. That is a definite. If I have my preference, maybe you guys cool it down over there, and then we head over, you know? Keep it hot over in Texas. I'm from Texas. I know that. Yep. Current pullback we're working on now. Do you see a quick, painful pullback? Oh, I have no idea. No idea. Based on what the VIX is doing, it just feels like there's more to go. And then add in the fact the technical breakdowns under the 50-day and all that. It at least has that crowd that lives and dies by that. Okay, well, now they're bearish, and we're just every day getting a few more bearish people. Financials, you don't like what the idea they were talking about today, we're going to downgrade the banks or whatever. Okay, we got that group bearish. So it feels like there's more downside there. Guessing on the pace of it or how much of a ripping of the Band-Aid, I have no idea. Yeah, couldn't tell you. You like the research to show on the QQ's 2% drop after last week? Yeah, kind of cool, huh? Like, yeah, I get that, you know, history doesn't repeat itself, but it has the same personality. You know what I mean? So I love looking at stats for things like that. Tom's loving it, man. I saw that earlier today on your PayPal. So you got it, right? Back down to the lows. Didn't quite make new lows there. To me, you see that have a gap lower in the morning. Bet you see people try to start scooping it up. The bigger the gap, the better. D. Williams didn't mention Plantair on your AI screener. So it's up to them. I didn't pick the stocks. All I needed was to see that they were using AI, talked about using it, and then, of course, talked about seeing demand and talked about seeing productivity increase. So their transcripts must not have mentioned it, and it could be because they're already doing that stuff. You know, yeah, mention of it, maybe the progress and stuff, but not that they're using it there. What do you think of international ETF? Careful with the international stuff. They've had a great run. Our international fund here, so if you don't know, we build our own funds, and I just sort of name them just so people don't see a bunch of stocks when they log in. The international portion of our funds, killing it, blowing everything away. Really, really good there. So I'm biased a little bit. I'd feel like maybe it needs to take a break, but that's me. I'm going to keep in mind I'm biased on that one. Just I'm here watching. Anyways, hope you'll be here watching later. Jazz After Dark, we're going to talk about the dividend stock breakdown like we did yesterday, but I'm going to expand on that for you, give you a little bit more bang for your buck. Grab a drink, come hang out with me. Yeah, it could be water, Gatorade or something. I'm not picky. I will be trying the last of Breckenridge bourbon because somebody has been enjoying it, and it was not me. Still salty about that. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for hanging out with us. Oh, God, what's this ending? Is this
Hey, Dustin.
Yeah.
Everything good?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure everything's good?
Yeah, man. I'm fine.
Okay.